Yep.
Great. Thanks, Cara Marie Piazza.
Got you. Your tech person for the day.
Yeah. Cara and I had a wholesale meeting together like couple weeks ago, and we were quarter of the way in, and we were realizing we hadn't recorded. So,
oh no,
what would we do without Kathy? And thanks to you guys who are leaving your videos on, because it's really nice to see all of you. What was the other funny thing I was just going to tell you guys? Let's see. Oh, hey, Helen. I was going to tell you something, but I guess maybe I'm getting older and it just passed through my brain. I see Helen, I see Julia Rose, I see Marieke. I can never say your name right, but awesome. Oh, that's what I was going to say. For those of you who are brand new to Feedback Friday, we have a song we play at the very beginning. So, you know, we might be one of the only shows that we have our own theme song. So don't think you're in the wrong place. It really is Botanical Colors Feedback Friday. All right, I'll do it. I'm going to do it now. You ready?
Ready.
Ready, CMP?
Oh, born ready. Let's go.
Oh. All right, let's hope we don't have Joan Armatrading coming on, but Jimmy Snyder instead.
Well, it's the end of the week. Now where you been? Well, now it's Feedback Friday, so come on in. Come sit down and stare at your screen. We got a presenter that you never seen. We're Feedback Friday, we're on the loose. We'll be the train, you be the caboose. It's Feedback Friday with Kathy and Amy. Mashed potatoes and the gravy. It's Feedback Friday all day long. Feedback, feedback, Feedback Friday.
All right, well, welcome everybody to the 123rd episode of Feedback Friday. This is where we speak with dyers and artists and scientists and writers and scholars and people who are processing linen and dyeing linen and doing all kinds of amazing things. Today we have like 4 different people who are here, so we'll be spotlighting a bunch of people too. But we're focusing on Mourne Textiles, who's going to be Malu Culleran, who's from Fibershed Ireland, who's here. We'll be telling you a little bit more about Mario and Mourne Textiles, as well as AppleOak FibreWorks, and Jennifer Lienhard, who's here too. Everybody's in Ireland. And so we'll be talking more about that in a sec. And just thanks, Malu, for pulling everybody together to do this. This is very exciting. We have just a couple reminders because we have to, because it's Botanical Colors, but we have a Mordant and Assist sale that we're going to be having go through July 5th. So if you guys want to get a little discount on Mordants or Assists, you can go to our sale page and get those, stock up, try something new. And then we also have an Abu Bakr Fofana mud dyeing class. We've had to switch gears a little bit with that. And we had him for a whole month in Santa Fe, and we had some issues where he couldn't come into the country. So now we've just gone online. So if you're interested in that, you can take the online class. We'd love your support as well as Abu Bakr, because we all took a big punch in the gut with that one. And we also have, Cara has a class too. She's just going to quickly talk about it. It's an illustrative painting class.
Yes. So my illustrative painting class is available for, I think, the next month, we said, right, Amy?
Yes.
And it's a really fun, creative playtime. It runs for about an hour and a half, and I run you through using different mordants and assists, which are now on sale, to create beautiful watercolors and natural dyes that are paintings that are all done on paper. So we cover a variety of different papers. It's really, really fun. It's so you can get a experiment and play and watch like how the pH of natural dyes can shift. So it's highly recommend if you kind of just need to like tap out and get your Zen painting on. It's very fun. And I popped the links into the chat for the sale, so you can have a look there.
Thanks, Cara. And we also have, this is like a stretch, but we also have Takayuki Ishii, who's in Seattle starting next week. But we had 2 people who got COVID and we're trying to help fill their spots. So if you are anywhere near Seattle and you want to take a class with Takayuki Ishii, there's an amazing class that it's actually his 4-day Kakishibu Persimmon Tannin Shibori Norin workshop, which will be amazing. So if you're around Seattle and you want to take that, you're in luck. Okay, so now we're going to go to Malu and Mario. We're going to start with Malu, actually. And thank you so much for being part of this. And just a little blurb about Fibershed Ireland. Malu and a group of people, or a group that are working together to create a supportive network of farmers, crafters, processors, and designers in facilitating an Irish regenerative fiber system based on local fiber, local dyes, and local labor. And so happy that you're here. So I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce the other 2 people, and then Mario will share a really beautiful presentation. And Malu has one too.
Thank you, Amy. Yeah, and thanks for having us. We're very happy to be here. So I am Malu Colorin. I'm first I am a natural dyer, so I'm very happy to be in Feedback Friday. But I'm also the co-founder of Fibershed Ireland, and basically we envision biodiverse ecosystems and thriving livelihoods woven by culturally vibrant Irish fibers. And I'm sure many of you are already familiar with the global Fibershed movement. We all kind of have a very similar ethos based on our own unique region. So basically, we just want to bring the textile industry back to Ireland as much as possible. And yeah, Amy has already kind of spoken about what we do, crafting regenerative Irish textile systems based on local fiber, local dyes, and local labor. And we kind of operate on 4 kind of main pillars. So we do a lot of networking. We facilitate bringing people together, and that's kind of what I'm doing today. I'm, bringing Mourne Textiles together with AppleOak FibreWorks, which I'll be telling you about in a second, and just sparking collaborations like that. We also expand opportunities for regenerative fiber and dye farming, and we have a really exciting group of regenerative farmers working together at the moment to establish a verification system similar to what you have in the US of the climate beneficial textiles. We are working on catalyzing regional fiber processing facilities, which, as you probably know, because it's very similar all over the world, fiber processing is the big kind of roadblock that prevents us from using our own natural fibers. And so that's why we're really excited about this project with Mourne Textiles that we are helping support and amplify. And just, education, research, and advocacy for natural fibers, for local textiles, for natural dyes, and for more regional fiber systems. So that's kind of just a quick introduction to what we do. And I'm really happy to introduce today Mario Sierra and Jennifer Lienhard. So Mario Sierra is the creative director at Mourne Textiles, which is a traditional weavers in the foothills of the Mourne Mountains in Northern Ireland, a beautiful region of the island. And he'll tell you more about what they do in a second. And they're working on bringing back the processing of linen, which we're very excited about. So that's why we're really excited to support this project. And Jennifer Lienhard, who is the master natural dyer at AppleOak FibreWorks, which is a beautiful dye house in the west of Ireland, another beautiful location in the island, and she specializes in all sorts of natural dyes, but especially today she's going to be talking about Woad. So Mario, please go ahead.
Very good, thank you very much. Thank you for having me here. I'm very excited to be here. I'm just going to share my screen. Hopefully this will share area. Oh, that's going right to the back. Sorry, I'm going to have to go right. So just stop sharing. Sorry about this.
That's my fault. We always say, make sure you get back to the beginning.
I didn't. So everyone shut your eyes. Don't
close your eyes, please.
Everyone shut your eyes. Don't look.
Close
I
your
don't know how to get back to the beginning very easily. I'm really sorry about this.
Don't look.
Don't look.
Don't
Okay,
look.
here we are.
Oh.
Back to the beginning. You didn't see any of that. So here we are. Rewind. We're Mourne Textiles. It's a family weaving workshop, a family-based weaving workshop. My grandmother set it up in the early 1950s, actually late 40s, but it sort of properly got started in the early 50s. She was Norwegian by birth and emigrated to the Mourne Mountains after the war, and set up a workshop where we are today. So we generally use very traditional techniques in our manufacturing process, and the looms that we use today are still a lot of the looms that she first imported into Ireland we would still be using. So we do a lot of hand weaving of rugs and wool hangings and specific tweeds that can only be really hand woven. We also do machine weaving, but that's really where our foundations are in the hand weaving. So a lot of these machines would be still from the 50s. She brought these in imported in late 50s. This particular warping mill. This is our warping room where we'll make all the warps for our looms, all our hand looms. This was a Swedish designer designed this, and in Norway actually. I think it's a unique piece of kit. We, as well as the old equipment, we try and train new apprentices, sort of going back to our roots really from the archives, and bringing some of our old designs back into production with new apprentices. And with these new apprentices, we will try and locate the old weavers that used to weave at the original mill, and they help to pass on the knowledge to the new apprentices. So this particular guy here, this is Jared. He's actually one of our neighbors. He ended up, when I got back involved in the workshop, he sort of walked up the road and sort of got back involved with the mill. Here he is. He's making cheeses, which are the little horizontal yarn packages that we use for warping. A lot of his training is actually, he was trained by my grandmother, which is quite unique. Here, this is John McAtasney. He's used to weave for my grandmother. I think he started weaving for us in 1967 as a piece weaver. So again, it's going back to the past. It's learning from these master craftspeople and learning from their skills. So John, I mean, he's a big friend of the family, but he's also, he was a wealthy, sadly not with us today, but he's a wealth of knowledge. I mean, we've all learned so much from him over the years. I mean, the book on the right actually shows the first ever warp he made for us when my grandmother first employed in 1967, and then he then wove for my mother, and then eventually he was weaving whenever I took over. Still using the same system. We deliver a warp up to him, and then he would weave and then give us back the woven fabric. As you know, we just keep repeat. So he was a piece weaver. He sadly, when he passed away, he left his loom to us, but when I brought the loom to the workshop, again, just wanting to learn as much from these old craftspeople. So I said to everybody as we were dismantling the loom, don't remove any of the bits of string. We need to keep everything intact as he had it, because there's a reason for every single bit of tool, why the tool is hanging from this nail. There must be a reason for it. So, it's the most amazing loom to weave on, because you just put your hand to the right and there it is. What you need is right next to you. So we're constantly still learning from him as from his tools, basically, and the way he wove. There's this loom in the workshop on the left. It's an old Donegal loom. It's a fantastic loom to weave on. It's my favorite loom in the workshop. We also, the fibers that we would use have brought us to, this is Frida McGill, a sheep farmer from the other side of the Mournes from us, and she is a rare breed sheep farmer. So a lot of the fibers we'll try and get locally if we can. So Frida's fleece it's incredible. It's like going into a sweet shop. She's got a big shed out the back of her farm, and with all different types, different shades of fleece, and you just go and basically just hug through you just rummage through the bags and just find a color that you want, and that's the color that you can then blend together with the yarns that you have back at the workshop. So it's the people. It's that my journey with Mourne Textiles has really been meeting just these incredible craftspeople and learning from them. Here, the fleece, we do get the fleece. It is a bit mucky, so we have to clean it when we get it back to the workshop, which is always quite a smelly process, but it's it's worthwhile in the end. Here we have some wool hanging using some of Frida's fleece. This is Herdwick sheep. Yeah, it was definitely Herdwick sheep. It's lovely, beautiful grey fleece. I mean, when I'm up at the farm, sometimes I'm actually just, if I see a particular sheep in the field, I'm like, Frida, can I have the fleece from that sheep, because it really is. That's the color I want. And she'll she knows the name of all her sheep, so she'll sort of pinpoint that one, say, well, you can't have it for another few months, but she'll save it for me. So as well as so I'll just zip through that really quickly. As well as the traditional hand looms, I've got a slight loom problem, and I just keep buying looms. And I've always been wanting to weave a selvage denim. So I got these looms. These are Hattersley looms. These particular looms, I got them thinking I would be able to weave a selvage denim on them, but sadly they're not quite right for selvage denim. They're better for tweeds. So we use these for our scarves and our baby blankets. But they're a particular type of shuttle loom that he just weaves a beautiful woven selvage on the edges. So this is my real introduction into this type of loom, which then, which sort of spurred on this sort of quest for a denim loom, which is sort of where we are with the crowdfunder. Again, with the looms come the craftspeople that have incredible knowledge of the looms. This is John Joe Murphy, who I got a Quest scholarship with, and he came and taught me how to use the looms, fix the looms up in our workshop. He was actually an apprentice of my grandmother's, which I found out after he came up. He just told me when he arrived. He said, "Oh, did you know your grandmother has actually, she actually taught me how to weave when I was 18." So there's this beautiful loop of skills that keeps going around, which we're trying to keep. Just trying to always look back and learn from the past, learn from the people who used to operate this equipment in the past. I finally found my denim looms. This is them in a mill just north of our current workshop. They're not in the best condition, but they can be renovated. Everything can be fixed up. So this is really where the crowdfunder came about. So I found this derelict mill full of equipment. Predominantly, I was looking for looms, but then I slowly discovered there was a dark room in the back, and in this room was some flax spinning equipment, which then brought me to meet. This is Charlie from Allen Linen. So this brought me to meet Helen and Charlie, who told me that there is actually there's a gap in the production chain for processing flax into a linen yarn. So it's really, this is where our journey into this crowdfunder began, and we realized actually the value of the equipment that we'd found and the need to get this equipment up and running. So here we are, we're removing the linen loom. It was a bit of an ordeal to try and get them out of this mill, but we managed to get everything out. So it's now in my warehouse. I've just got a little video, got a couple of very short 40-second videos. So this is actually Helen from Allen Linen explaining a little bit about the need for this equipment.
We honestly, when we first planted our flax, thought that there would be somewhere nearby where we could get it processed and get it spun and woven. And it was only later that we realized that supply chain had gone altogether. The thing is, we weren't trying to do something that new. It had been done before. So all of that knowledge was already out there. And talking to generations of people, we managed to get an awful lot of great wisdom about it.
If you can, from start to finish, they'll grow, produce, finish, everything.
We used to do it. We did do it. We were one of the leading linen producers in the world. There's nothing that has changed that would stop us getting back to that kind of system. You know, the heritage aspect is important, but what's more important to us is having a sustainable textile out the other end. We honestly.
Oh. So that was basically Helen was explaining now they've been growing flax, and I think they're on their 6th season of growing flax in just the north of Ireland, and that they can grow it. They've got a scotching mill to break off the husks on the outside of the flax, but there's nowhere for them to go after that. So there's this sort of gap between turning that into a linen that can then be woven with. So that's what this equipment is. This fills the gap. So it's so important that we try and get this back and running. It's you know, as we've been, I mean, we've been sort of working on this for about a year now, just trying to locate the knowledge as well to go with the machines, and there is still knowledge out there, but sadly it's an aging community of people who used to use this equipment, and so this knowledge is also it's slipping away. So it's sort of, there's an urgency to secure the knowledge, to record the knowledge, to celebrate the knowledge, and to learn from all these people who still are there. So they might not be in Ireland, they might have emigrated there. It's a huge call out. So you know, there's two aspects to this. One is the machines, but there's also the knowledge is sort of almost more important than the machines, because that's the bit that's got a time limit on it. And you know, there's generations, we can't lose this. We can't let this slip. So these are some of the spinning machines that we've got. We've now got it secured in our warehouse. It's safe, it's dry, it's just ready to be renovated. It looks really bad condition here. A lot of it's surface rust. It's not so bad. It can be fixed up. This is actually some of the knowledge. So and Helen actually introduced me to James, who used to be a fitter at Herdman's flax linen spinning mill up in the northwest of Ireland. It shut down in 1989. He's now working as he's a welder. He's a very good welder, but he's still, you can hear the passion. He's still absolutely passionate about flax spinning, and you know, he's grown up with it just the same way I've grown up with weaving. So he knows people. You know, we need to learn from him, and then we need to meet more people like him and learn from them. I'm just going to play this video. You can hear through his words.
Linen to me is, there's a lot of knowledge passed down through families, you know, that you can't be taught anywhere. You know, I know I certainly did. When my father worked in Ireland for 51 years, I have 4 sisters, they all worked in it. People are going to have to draw on the experience of as many of the old school people as they can, because it's the old school people that know what to do. If you can, from start to finish, they'll grow, produce, finish everything in the one country. You know. Linen.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, he says the 3 sisters he was talking about, they worked on this machine, so I'm going to meet them. They're going to come down and help me learn how to use this machine. But once we get it running, this is actually the linen. This is the final stage of the linen spinning. So this turns the linen into the flax into a linen yarn, which we can then weave with. So that would then through our linen looms, and hopefully to salvage denim. But as you know, as you heard from James's what he was saying is, it's just so important to capture this knowledge and keep it in the community, keep it for the next generation, really. And this is a final thing. I saw this is very much my mum took these today, actually took these pictures of her books. I didn't manage to have any pictures. So I thought, oh, I've got to show them. So this is my mother's when she was, I think she was 17, she went to Norway and studied tapestry weaving. This is her dye notebook, her recipe book with all of her, it's all in Norwegian. So we have to get the little app out that translates it for us. But these are her natural dye recipes that I'm really looking forward to get involved with. I mean, I have been looking through these for a few months now. Only found them recently. But again, it's just to try and bring some natural dyeing into our rugs and into our textiles. But they're still there, all the little samples of the actual dyes themselves. So I really raced through that. I was conscious about time, so I hope I haven't raced through it too much, but there's loads of questions. If anybody has any questions about any of it, please, if I've brushed over it, but that's sort of what we're doing, really. And hopefully we'll get onto this, some salvage denim with these looms. That's where it all started, and got distracted by the spinning the linen, but hopefully coming back to, we're weavers predominantly, so we'll be bringing those looms back into production
Yeah.
and try and, I think this Woad is one of these samples might be a Woad, or maybe it's
bet you
difficult
there
to tell because
is,
it's
yeah.
a Norwegian.
Thanks, Mario. It was great. We have so much to like process there.
Sorry, yeah, I
But
realize there's a
also-
lot of stuff in there.
It's the images are just, the images are so beautiful. They should be like framed. They're just like these picture perfect, wonderful, wonderful images. And I know, Malu, you're gonna talk a little bit more about kind of maybe the crowdfunding campaign too, because Mario, you mentioned the crowdfunding campaign that you guys are doing, and Cara has been putting in chat the link to it. But Mario is running a crowdfunding campaign right now, so to get support for bringing all this craftsmanship back and the machines back. So when Cara puts it in there, or if you go back to the RSVP or the video post that I'll put up this weekend, you can see the crowdfunding campaign link. So you can maybe help support what they're doing over there in Fibershed Ireland. But
Yeah, it'll hopefully help us get the machines going so we can actually get them spinning really.
yeah.
We need all the help we can get, basically.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so well, we're very, very excited about this project because we have flax growing in Ireland. As Mario mentioned, Helen and Charlie are growing it already, but we don't have a way to spin it into yarn. So Mario can't actually weave with the flax we're growing in this island. So that's a big part of it. And the other part, of course, is the selvage denim, which is Mario's dream. And we've been talking about maybe would we be able to do some selvage denim that was dyed with Irish woad? And who better to talk about Irish woad than Jennifer Lienhard, who, as I mentioned, is a natural dyer, a master natural dyer here in Ireland, and she's been working a lot with different varieties of woad, and she's going to tell us a little bit about that as well. So hopefully someday, not very far in the future, we will have selvage denim dyed with Irish woad.
Yeah, hello, I'm Jennifer, and yeah, I definitely look forward to doing some to dye linen that has been through all the processes in Ireland, and then dyeing it with woad would be quite amazing. I do dye a lot of Irish linen, but obviously it's just the weaving part that is done here. So now I don't want to, I see there's lots of questions coming in for the linen part. So I keep it relatively short. Last year we decided to try out a few different kinds of varieties of woad. We have, I'm running a Facebook group of which is called the Woad Project. And through that, I came across other varieties because people from other countries were joining in. And one of them was a lady who grows woad in Canada, and her woad is called Birmingham. And then we came across another one which is very popular actually in the UK called Tewkesbury. So I teamed up with Irish Seed Savers Association. My husband was working at the time as the head gardener, and we decided to try to get these seeds and just compare the three to each other. So I won't go into all the details. I had it all down, but that would take far too long. So I'm just going to show you the differences between them. So the woad you see in the picture there, that is the Tewkesbury woad. And it's very well known for being quite rich and blue. And you will see later in the pictures that it does give a nice blue. So after that, so as a plant, it's a very lush plant. So this one now is the Birmingham woad. And it's really cute because it has these wavy edges, as you can see, and it's much more condensed in comparison to the Tewkesbury woad. And after that is the Irish woad. Very different again. It's much more compact, very leathery leaves, and the growth habit is also very different in comparison to the other two. So we grew them, and we watched them. So the Irish Woad was quite slow, but eventually it did catch up with the others. So we managed to get 5 harvests out of them, which is quite a lot given the Irish climate. The first harvest we did with a workshop to just try to see how much indican or the blue is actually available in these different strains of woad, these different varieties. And we used the Japanese method for that. So when you work with woad, you have to work quite quickly. Historically, they would have brought the machines to make woad boards and everything to the woad fields. So obviously that's not an option for us. So we had to cut the leaves and bring them to the workshop. So when you cut the leaves, the moment you cut them, you are activating, let's say, the blue, the indican, which is colorless glucoside. But once it gets exposed to the air, it turns blue. So you need to work quite quickly in order to get the most out of it. So my workshop is about 10 minutes away, so that's quite handy. So we brought it away, and so like I said, we had 5 harvests. So 2 harvests. So the first harvest we recorded, and the 4th harvest we recorded. The rest of them we used to make woad boards. So we harvested it, we fermented it, something I will never do again because it was so smelly. It was even crossed my tolerance line. So, but you can see so next time I will not ferment them. This was an old German kind of recipe I tried to follow up. So I oh gosh, I don't want to imagine how, in bigger scale. So you can see we are making the boards there. They're about tennis board size, and then we dry them in the dry room, and they shrink about 3/4. So they get quite small. So now I have them. So this was last year, and then this year they're gonna go into. They will be feeding the fermentation vat. So then the next one is this is the Japanese fresh leaf method. So a lot of you probably are familiar with that one. The sword wrap would be a similar one. It's literally just working with the indican within the plant. So we did that with the first harvest and the 4th harvest. We did the woad boards with the harvests in between. The 5th harvest I didn't go ahead with because I wasn't around at that time. But from this Japanese fresh leaf, we had a lot of leaves left. So we did a hot extraction as well. There's a little picture there, but I've got quite a big vat. It's about 300-liter vat. So there wasn't that much, that many leaves left, but we did get a few results. So anyway, so the next one along, then you can see this is the Tewkesbury strain. So it was really just working on the indican. So this kind of method, the Japanese cold dye, this cold way of dyeing, if you put it into heat, it will not stay. But it was a nice way to see how much indican is present. And the Tewkesbury is definitely the best one out of them. So it has a lot of blue showing all the time. So from the first harvest and the 4th harvest, it was kind of quite steady through. So it is very well known for having a good amount of blue. So then the next one would be the Birmingham. That came from Canada. There you can see there's already much more green present. So obviously all these dyes, these plants have also flavonoids in them and other dye bits. So the Birmingham already was a little bit more green. All of them started a bit weaker with the first harvest and then improved as the harvests were going along. And so the Birmingham was stronger at the end and started off a bit more green at the beginning. So the first harvest would have been in July, early July, and then the last harvest was late August. And then you have the Irish one, and the Irish one, like our Ireland, it's very green. So I did an extraction first with them just for a few years back, just pigment extraction, and it does have blue in it. But in this particular way, to just see there's obviously a lot of yellow present, so it wasn't that much blue there. But in fairness, I have to say towards the end, so last harvest was definitely much richer in blue than the first one. So so it was quite amazing. We all use these different plants and they all die. You know, it's not that there's any kind of that one is more blue than, well, yeah, there is, but we're all happy with the results. So anyway, this was very interesting to see just the differences. And then the next picture, so you can really see in the next picture a bit more close up. So on the left is the Irish woad. Then below on the bottom line is the Tewkesbury, and then on the right is the Birmingham. So obviously the fibers you use and you know, like silk, you can see the Birmingham has a really nice blue silk that was the last from the last harvest. And yeah, it was quite nice. Yeah, lovely results. So I'm actually wearing one of the linen dyed. We did in the linen dyed scarves. We did in the hot in the hot bath. So here is then, and the last picture just shows the stuff we got out from the actual Woad vat. So I flew past this all a bit, but yeah. So so yeah, that was the Woad project. We have now, obviously, we grew them in seed savers. So it's for us. It's I'm a gardener. My husband is a gardener and a seed saver. So for us, it's always very important to create quality seeds. So all the plants we grow are organically grown, ideally biodynamic. We get there some stage. But this year now, so this was all last year, and this year we will have the seeds then available from 3 different varieties. Obviously, we had to part them. I brought the Birmingham Woad home, and we have the Tewkesbury still in seed savers, and they're all growing the lovely seeds. So yeah, so that was that. Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. Let's see.
Thanks so much, Jennifer. So yeah, that was Fibershed Ireland, Mourne Textiles, and AppleOak FibreWorks, who are 2 of our brilliant members doing amazing things.
Thanks, Malu. It's like the three of you are so inspiring, and I'm looking forward to. I know there's a little bit of talk about maybe that selvage denim once those machines get up and running. Maybe there's some kind of Woad, some denim collaboration. That would be very cool. Love to see that. But all right, I'm going to jump into these questions, and I'm just going to go in order. So I'm sure I'm going to hit the natural dye questions at the bottom of this. But I'm going to start with you, Mario. Let me see. Oh, great. Suddenly, there they are. Oh, they keep disappearing on me. Somebody was asking, do you have any thoughts or plans to weave fine linen for embroidery?
Somebody else actually was asking me about that on Instagram. Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely be weaving some linens. Somebody was asking about linen for painting, actually for painting on, and also for embroidery. I think once we get the looms going, I think yeah, absolutely. I mean, that it's sort of step by step. So at the minute we're just trying to get them weaving a linen, and then we'll be starting with linen that we can buy off the shelf. We actually found a supply of Herdman's linen that's still around today, so we'll be using their linen just to get the looms going until we can spin our own. But they have very fine linen as well. So ideally we will be. I mean, these looms are able to weave very fine linen. That's the advantage of them. They're quite firm, solid looms. So
yeah,
I hope so.
I'm doing a plug for your crowdsourcing. There's all kinds of really great rewards you can get if you donate. So go check out that crowdsourcing campaign, and then you can feel some of this linen. Somebody's saying, do you know about the Dutch Linen Project?
I do. They came to visit actually just earlier this year. They're doing an amazing job over there. There's a few different projects around, but they again don't have anywhere to process small quantities of flax that's grown. So this is a problem. It's not just unique to Ireland. It's also in the UK. They're having to send their fibers over to, I think they're sending them to Belgium to be hackled, and then they go from Belgium to Lithuania to be spun. So So it's yeah. So I think there's a few people who've got their eyes on these machines who are Dutch Linen Project being one of them, who are growing flax or trying to grow flax in small quantities, but don't have anywhere to process. So
Yeah, that's the biggest problem. You know, there's 68 fiber sheds worldwide, and all of us, I run a fiber shed too, but we are all dealing with the challenges of processing equipment.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
new processing equipment, old processing equipment, any kind of processing equipment, except, you know, somebody one time said they had some linen tools that I could borrow for my fiber shed. And I went there and it was, you know, it was a board with nails on it, you know. It's like, are you kidding me? This is your machinery? Oh my
That's a
God.
good bit of machinery.
Yeah. It worked, you know, back in the day, but we need something that's a little bit more stable, I guess, and more people can utilize. All right. Somebody's asking what makes weaving a tweed?
Tweed, yeah. So that's a good question. So tweed is strangely, it comes from the finishing process. So when we weave a woolen fabric, a tweed, it's quite a loose weave. When we weave it, we weave the yarn, the woolen yarn is oily when we weave it, but then it needs to be finished. It needs to be washed, and it used to be washed in the River Tweed when it was first washed. So therefore, that's where the name comes from. So and when it washes, what happens is the oils are washed out of the yarns, and the sort of the fabric really comes alive. The yarns puff out, and it becomes quite yeah, it fills all the gaps and just becomes a really lovely tweed.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
love
it comes from the River Tweed.
I love that I saw Michelle O'Reilly's face just go, what? The same time. You know, what? Tweed.
Yeah.
So let's see. Do you have open days or do tours?
We're always happy to show people around. Usually it's best to email or call and just check that we're there, or we're both there. It's, you know, I'm back and from travel, or I'm back and forth to Ireland. So but yeah, no, we're very happy to show people around. And you know, if anybody comes, if we're able, we'll just show you around the looms, and definitely hopefully show you the process.
I'm sure 186 of us that are here right now would love to just board planes, trains, and automobiles to get over to.
Jennifer also has open days on Wednesdays.
Okay.
Ooh,
That would be
I'll be
inundated with
there.
all the dyers. Yeah.
I'll be on that
crazy.
one.
Okay. Why do you need a different loom for a denim?
So without getting too technical, it's the sort of compact, it's the way the loom's designed is the looms that I currently have, they have a slip mechanism on the back, just some chains. So it's as the warp is pulled off the back beam, it slips on these chains. So with these new looms, they've got it's a different system. So it's literally geared. So because it's so geared, you can really compact the weave. So it just means, you know, denim obviously is quite a compact weave. So it needs to have this loom that works in this way. So it's just the way the loom is designed makes it a denim loom or a linen loom itself. All looms are different. They all weave different things. We've got looms that weave rugs that couldn't weave a tweed, and you know, hopefully now we're going to have a loom that weaves a denim, but it couldn't weave a rug. So they're all just designed slightly differently.
Interesting. Are you part of the Linen Biennial?
I think we were talking. I was talking to them this week actually about trying to do something in October. We were part of one a few years ago. We did a talk. Yeah, hopefully we'll have a bit more of an update on this project in October, and we were actually trying to talk about whether we could bring people down to see the machines themselves, and James will be down there explaining the process. Still in motion. Nothing's completely planned yet.
Yeah. Okay, this is a long question, so I'm gonna break it up. What region is the flax grown north of Ireland? And I'm just going to add this in. So here at our Southern California Fibershed, we are consciously looking into growing flax at Rodale Farms in Ventura County, but it's slow and not going as quickly as we'd like. What are the conditions recommended?
Oh, that's a really that would be a Helen question. Malin Linen basically are growing the flax. They're the absolute experts on this. Their farm is is very hilly. That actually I couldn't answer that. I'm as a weaver, I need to leave it to them. But they're Malin linen basically. It's up near Cookstown in the northwest of Ireland, or north of Ireland. But if you look up Malin linen, I think they would be more than happy to help. I mean, they really are experts in what they're doing. They've been doing it now for quite a number of years. And they also, it's not just growing it, it's the retting process that they really understand as well, to do that well.
Okay, here's another part of the question. What are the sheep breeds you're using?
Yes, so there's a variety of sheep breeds. So Herdwick was the one I mentioned, which is the grey sheep. It's a bit like a Brillo pad. It's quite, you wouldn't use it for something that you put around your neck, but it's got lovely fibers, which I love when you're hand twisting chunks of fleece. It's quite a coarse fleece. Although, yeah, it's quite a coarse fleece, I'd say. It's not like a merino sheep. And then there's other rare breeds. I mean, Breda actually has one that she's bred herself called Blossom, but there's a variety of different ones, a few different ones there. But Herdwick's the one I mentioned. That's my favorite.
So the chat is always included with when we do the video recording, so you can go back to see how many people loved the pictures of your mother's style, the swatches and stuff. But I got to read this. Julia Rose writes, I love the level of enthusiasm from the elder weavers to rejoin the mill efforts. There's an element of, quote, getting the band back together, which it does sound like that. The guys are like, I think I'm going to rejoin this. I would like to be part. I love that.
No, absolutely. I mean, this is the thing. John McAtasney, he was like our most efficient weaver at 83. He was loving it. I couldn't get warps to him fast enough. And it's that knowledge, I think there is this pride as well in their knowledge and being able to talk about that skill that they built up. And there was also the new apprentices were really, really happy to learn from them. So it's a good crossover. I think having that crossover is really important. But yeah, I was always looking out for old band members. There were a few out there who wouldn't come back. They'd gone off and done other things, but there were definitely a few. Would have been good to get my grandmother back, but sadly she's not around. She would have loved it. Definitely, she would have enjoyed it.
Well, you're continuing on. That's great. I wrote down when you were talking, you said it, and when we talked earlier this week, you said it a couple of times. You kept saying it's all about the people, and it seems that's a big part for you with this project, that it is really all about the people and capturing that knowledge before these people do pass and you don't have that knowledge. But I think it's interesting too, like there's a military plane flying over my house right now, but when you're talking, we talked also about, you've got these elders from the past who are teaching, and then you have to make it so that it is something that is new and relevant to a new generation. And I was pretty fascinated by some of the designers that you're working with, or who is interested in some of the projects that you're working on. I remembered Vivian Westwood was one, but I know there were other ones too that were very.
Well, yeah, that they have shown an interest. Well, that's more with Malin Linen. I've been talking to them, but that's another thing. But yeah, no, they I mean, Margaret Howell is one that we work with a lot. She's a big British designer. She's definitely shown an interest in this and in supporting the campaign. She uses a lot of traditional manufacturers from the UK and Ireland. So I think it is. It's sort of taking it and looking forward with that knowledge from the past. It's that sort of, it's not just sitting and designing as used to be, but sort of taking it and learning from it and tweaking it. I mean, that's the thing. If we can get these machines going, it's how we can use them and the fibers that we can blend. Like, it's not, it might not just be flax. We can look at nettles. We can look at other fibers and seeing, hemp is another, it's a big, all these plant-based fibers that we can blend and hopefully dye. That's my that's the bit I'm really interested. I was fascinated to see the workshop, all of the colors hanging up.
Oh yeah,
it's just how we can use that.
So beautiful how many colors you can get from one plant, but
it's insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
Hey, Jennifer, you're up. You're up for a question.
Oh, right. Okay.
Speaking of Woad, so somebody was asking how color fast is Woad, and is there a particular mordant to use? Probably Botanical Colors might have that answer. But Jennifer, maybe talk about that. I'm sure you have many answers to that.
Well, you usually dye with wood the same way you dye with indigo. So it's actually a vat dye. Saying that you can use the leaves, but you wouldn't get blue out of them now. You can use them in the hammering, to hammer onto cloth. Then you get some blue. That's quite easy. But if you use an alum mordant, I mean, depending on the fiber you're using, I'm assuming it's wool now. If you use an alum mordant and you use the leaves as you would dye with any other plant, you will get a yellow kind of beige color. If you want the blue, you either have to do the Japanese extraction we did. There's a salt rub method, which is very simple, just rubbing the leaves with salt and your fabric with it. Or there is the vat dye process of just like an indigo dye process. However, if you are looking after, if you want it to be color fast, it's obviously the vat dye you have to use. The other processes are more kind of hobby, let's say, kind of nice things to do. If you don't mind the color, you can always redo it, you can always take the scarf again and do it once more, but to really have proper light fastness, you have to do it.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about, somebody was asking about having seeds for sale, but I just looked above and Malu put a link to Irish Seed Savers, where 3 varieties of Woad seeds will be available this year for anyone in the EU. But
We
I don't
actually
know if
have,
that's- yeah, you do have some?
well, we actually sell them at AppleOak rather than through Seed Savers. So
Okay.
Oh, sorry, my mistake.
it's fine, it's just we collaborate with them, and we're growing a lot of different dye plants there, madder, bed straw, all these kind of more traditional dye plants which would have been grown here as well. But we sell them because they are much more into heirloom. Really what they're doing is apples, vegetables. So it's sell a bit, but we mainly sell it through.
Yeah.
It's mainly for Europe. You're not legally supposed to send them in the post to America, especially because you have some regions where it's not allowed. It's amazing. So you really have to check it out if you ever think of trying to grow wool there. So just make sure you're not one of them.
Woad is controversial for sure. I know the West Coast, they definitely, it's considered invasive, but I'm growing some here on the East Coast. Yeah, I feel like the winter wasn't cold enough to kind of kick them back, so I'm a little nervous about what's going on, but yeah. Somebody's asking also, Jennifer, how do you harvest the Woad seeds? Do they have to be very dark, almost black, to be ready to collect, and how do you store them?
Yeah, you think they're ready, and then it's usually that they're not ready yet. So always give them a bit more time. When you open up the seed, you can see within the seed, if that little seed inside is actually black and dark rather than kind of greenish looking, then it's actually black. So once they turn dark, you have to give it at least another month or so to really wait until they're really black through and through. Then you take them, then you turn them upside down, and you can dry them in an airy place. If you have a shed or something, leave the doors open. They're relatively easy to handle. There's not you can put a paper bag over them while they hang upside down, and as they dry, they fall into it, and you just shake it, and that's then also a way to store them.
I like that. It makes sense because it's pretty prolific, the amount of Woad seeds that are on when they do dry. Oh my God.
And they're great for dyeing as well. You can dye them into, so somebody.
You can
Oh
dye
yeah,
with
the Woad seeds. Yeah, they give you a lovely pink if you use the kind of more tea extraction like processes, or if you use them for printing, you get nice blues out of them too, and purples.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Opening my eyes. Okay, let's see here. I have to go back to that Woad I just cut back the other day. Let's see. And thanks, Helen, for mentioning that about Fibershed in Oregon. The Pacific Northwest Fibershed has Angela and, oh my God, Shannon, they just started the North American Linen Association. So you can look for that online as well. So they're trying to get all the linen growers together in the US to get behind some manufacturing. And I know Shannon and Angela have been working so hard on that for years. So that's exciting. Let's see, here's a question for you, Mario. Have you heard of the tradition of walking the tweed?
I've seen some videos. I've never seen it in real life. I think is that the singing? There's sort of around the table and you're passing the tweed around the table. I've heard. I think that's what it is. I've not partaken in it. I might be wrong. I don't know if that is what it is. But no, I've not seen it in person. But that's what I think it is.
I just realized that I was just mentioning Angela, and Angela is here, so that's exciting. Pacific Northwest Fibershed. Let's see, the smell of tweed, fiber evolution. Yep. Wow, you guys have some really good questions here. Okay. Also, okay, Woad question. Who named the varieties? I know there are perhaps 20 different kinds of isatis, but have never come across name varieties in the literature. So this is really interesting and exciting.
Yeah, I think that there are very few varieties that are actually named. To be honest, these were the only two I found. But there are, especially with people growing them over, I mean, woad has been grown for thousands of years. And usually, and especially in Ireland, you wouldn't really find any kind of wood production. It was more in the UK and France, places. But people would have had it in their back, you know, it was part of the kitchen garden. And so the woad, if there were different varieties, they would have always crossed again and again and again. So I don't think anybody really knows what they're called. And at some point, somebody must have just given a name to one of them, and that particular seed was then passed around. That was at least the story with the Birmingham, I think. It was just passed around from Gardner to Dyer and vice versa, and they just called it Birmingham. The Tewkesbury was found early 20th century by a doctor. I think his name was Professor Hill. He knew a spot where this particular woad grew near Tewkesbury, and he always harvested it as a teenager, I think they said. So they must have used it in the home. And eventually, when he grew older, he actually brought it to his home. He cultivated it, and because it was near Tewkesbury, that was why it was called Tewkesbury. But it's the true form of it, and it probably escaped when they were still doing the woad fields in the UK at some point. So these are, even the Irish woad has no name. It's just called Irish woad. It goes back at least 30 years. Seed Savers had it in their seed bank, but nobody knows where it comes from or what the names.
So we could make up our own names if we wanted.
I suppose once you have a variety and you don't cross it with anything else, you can call it whatever you'd like.
All right. Well, we are at the top of the hour, and this has been really great, you guys. Thanks for everybody getting together to do this. I know I love that Angela and Shannon are both here too from the Pacific Northwest Fibershed, who have been growing linen. So you know what, I'm going to, if they want to, they can unmute themselves too and just talk a little bit about what they are. Just a little heads up, you two, on what you are doing in the US. I know I'm putting you on the spot. Maybe you're in your pajamas.
No, not quite. But I didn't brush my hair, so it's a little early here. So probably I'll stay off camera. Shannon's driving at the moment.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say I am so super excited about this campaign, crowdfunding campaign, because as I said in the chat, it is, as soon as Mourne gets their mill up and running, it is going to benefit everybody on the planet. And it's either from, like, you know, buying the textiles that are developed there, or it's mostly the preservation of knowledge. And I think that Mario spoke to that beautifully, because that really is what we're all dealing with, is how to find the people that used to run these machines and used to be a part of this industry, and being able to capture their expertise and knowledge before they pass on. And that's a big thing for us. So we're headed to Northern Ireland in October, and we contributed to the crowdfunding campaign so we can have a tour of the new mill. And if anybody on this call also wants to be in Northern Ireland, come along. And the Linen Biennial is going to have plenty of events happening that month as well. So we're super excited to see everybody again. Haven't been there since 2019. And when we stopped by the shop, I still wear my scarf, Mario.
Oh my gosh, oh, it's brilliant. Oh, I need to see the camera, but obviously another time. I don't know. Amazing.
I'll send you a picture. Yes, it was a great visit, and we were both very inspired by seeing your studio, and that just set us on a whole journey of trying to revive linen in the United States and Canada even more vigorously than we had before. So we were co-founders of North American Linen Association. So anybody on this call that'd like to participate in the revival, we're very geared toward commercialization in several different locations within North American continent. So we'd love to have you involved. Thanks, Amy. Hugs to you and Kathy.
There's thanks Shannon for putting the links in there too. So there's a lot of great industry that's happening around linen and lots of different fibers, and we just have to support the people who are doing it and in the different ways they are doing it. So again, if you guys can, check out the crowdfunding campaign with Mario and Fibershed Ireland and go support it. Maybe we can all support it together, and then take that trip with Angela and Shannon and go for a tour. Then we'll go to the dye house with Jennifer. Let's just make this happen. It'll be fun.
That'd be great.
But, all right. So if you guys want to unmute yourselves and say hi and goodbye and thank you and any words of wisdom, then have at it. And I just hope you all have a really great long weekend, and you have maybe Monday off, so you can do some natural dyeing or weaving or whatever you do.
Oh, thank you so much for having us. I really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Ready?
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you
Thank
from the
you.
Netherlands.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Let's see.
Thanks
And
a lot.
Thank
Do
you,
we sing
Carmen.
on the way out? Do we
Thank
sing on the
you.
way out?
I don't know if I don't think we have an outgoing song. I mean, unless somebody wants to sing something like Diane back Italian.
Meow.
They're gonna chop me down, so I don't know.
I vote for an Irish song.
All right. Maybe we shouldn't stop the recording yet. Maybe we should.
I posted the Walking Tweed song in the chat if anyone wants to look at the song that they sing for it, which is quite sweet.
Will you repost it? Just
Yes, let me find it again. One second.
Okay.
I'm scared. I didn't hear it, so I don't know if you really want to.
Oh my God, it's probably done like speed metal or something. Speed
No, wait,
metal.
let's see. Here it is.
One program that I rely on fully.
Let me. There it is.
All right, thanks. So, Cara, do you want to stop the recording?
Yes, I'm doing.
All right.
Sorry.